Hi everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. My name's Madison. I like to do mukbangs and cooking videos, so if that's something that interests you, please go ahead and stick around. Today, I will be making a really delicious and juicy meatloaf. So if you've never had good meatloaf, then you should stick around and make it. If you hear anything in the background, my dog is eating a piece of potato and choking on it a little, so all normal. Anyways, with some mashed potatoes and then probably like some broccoli again. If you've seen any of my other videos, broccoli is easy. So yeah. If you never had meatloaf before, I had never had meatloaf until I was an adult. So I wouldn't be surprised if you never had it. So that's okay. This meatloaf is really easy, really simple, super delicious. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I usually do a voiceover for stuff like this, but it'll be way easier if I explain while I'm doing it for this particular thing. First thing you want to do is have a pan ready with some foil. I have gloves on because I don't really like touching any raw meat, but whenever you're doing ground beef, it's easy to get under your nails. So I like using foil. Please use whatever makes sense to you. And the pan doesn't really matter either. This is just a flat pan. Here, I have some frozen caramelized onions. You could use sauteed onions, caramelized onions, whatever, doesn't matter. And they've just been thawing in this bowl. I have these because I make a whole bunch and I freeze them at once so that I'll have them ready to use for things like this. The next thing I'm going to use are some of the herb seasoned stuffing from Pepperidge Farm. And this is what I'm going to be using for my breadcrumbs. And the reason you want breadcrumbs in the meatloaf is to give it more body instead of it just being like a whole bunch of meat. Okay, so I usually will pour some of it into a plastic bag and just like beat it with the like pestle part of my mortar and pestle. I just completely forgot about it because I haven't eaten really anything yet, so super hungry. I'm gonna put some garlic powder in here, some onion powder, salt. And I'll have like some measurements down below. I don't really measure whenever I do this. It's more about like the look. And then I'm going to add some liquid smoke. I'm not going to add all of this though because that would be way too much. But I'm going to add a couple drops. And it's okay if you don't have liquid smoke. But if you do, it really helps with the flavor. I'm just going to add some ketchup. And then some Worcestershire sauce, barbecue sauce, a little bit of Dijon mustard. You could use Dijon mustard, regular mustard. It's all about like what you have on hand pretty much. And then I also just have some parsley that's frozen. If you have fresh parsley, that would be good as well. Mitzi is now playing with a toy.
Do you want me to stop her?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna add this egg. And then my ground beef as well that I just had hanging out in the refrigerator because it was previously frozen. And I haven't gotten this hand dirty yet, so I'm just using it only. And I'm gonna add a little bit of smoked paprika. this is optional, but I really want to add this today, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, now, if you like spicy, you could absolutely add some chipotle chili powder. That would be really good. Some cayenne. You could put some hot sauce in here. It's really nice with meatloaf because you can customize it so easily. So now I'm just going to mix it together. My counter's clean, so I'm just going to throw that back in there. All right, perfect. If I would have used a bigger bowl, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to shape it. And what I do for that is kind of take it and tuck it in on itself. And then you can also like pick it up and shape it as well. And then you can shape this like a regular meatloaf and have it really tall, like how it comes in a bread pan. However, if you flatten it out and make sure it's pretty even, like this, it actually cooks way faster and way more even, which is nice. I had also added some freshly cracked pepper whenever I put the sauteed onions in as well. So you could do that then too. And then I'm just gonna put it on here and shape it a little bit more. Okay, just gonna do an intermission with Mitzi. She's being very, very needy right now, so. Hi, me. Okay, so, right? Now that we have, if I pointed it downward. Now that you have your meatloaf, I have one clean hand. So now that you have your meatloaf kind of flattened, you can see how flat it is, like right here. Here's my finger. And it really does help it cook way more even, way more even. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some barbecue sauce on top. And this is just the way that I like it. If you eat it a different way, live your life. But this is what I find to be really good. And then just a little bit more of the mustard. And this will make it nice and candied on top. I've seen meatloaf with like tomato sauce as the base. So you could also do that. Sometimes I'll put tomato paste in with the mix to add some savory factor. And you could do this with like a fork or a spoon or like a brush or something. I just think it's way easier with my hand, which is another reason why I use the gloves. It's certainly not something pretty to look at, but it's going to be delicious. And if you don't like so much ketchup, feel free to not put it. Feel free to put less barbecue sauce, like whatever. Meatloaf is a very personal thing. All right. And I'm just gonna put just a little bit more ketchup on here. Okay, everyone. So at this point, some of you are like, bye. And that's okay. But if you're still here, thanks. So here's the meatloaf. It's ready to go in the oven. So I'm gonna put it, I already had it preheating to 400 just in case I needed it. It's gonna go in at 375. And I'm just gonna go ahead and set a timer for 25 minutes. And that's when I'll start checking the temperature. I like to do meatloaf by temperature, and that's how you make sure that you don't overcook it, i.e. making it dry and nasty. So I'm gonna check the temperature then, see what it's doing. At the moment, I am also boiling some potatoes. So I just have some russet potatoes that I peeled a lot of the skin off of. I left some of the skin on because health. I just don't like the texture of a whole bunch of skin. So I left some of the skin on, and I'm gonna go ahead and, so I peeled them, chopped them up, put them in cold water with some salt, which they need just a little bit more salt because I didn't put enough in there. And I just have that coming up to a boil. As soon as it comes up to the boil, I'm gonna lower it just a little bit so it'll be kind of bubbly, simmery, probably like a medium. And usually they'll be done in like 10 minutes. And then I'll go ahead and make those too. And you know your potatoes are done whenever you can stick a fork and it just falls. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain these. So what I'm about to do is gonna be really quick, but I wanna put it on video kind of so that it's easy to understand. The potatoes are done, so I'm just gonna turn them off. I have my strainer here. So I'm just straining them, and then I have the same pot, which it's gonna automatically dry because it's very hot. And then the potatoes, I'm just gonna set them on the same burner. The burner is off.
Can I get my phone back?
Yes, baby, 1 second. Here, I just have like 2 or 3 tablespoons of butter, probably half a cup of the heavy cream, and some pepper. I'm just gonna let these potatoes dry out a little bit. Stir them around. And the reason we're doing this is because they just hung out in water for a pretty long time. So we just want them to soften up and release that water and then evaporate it so they can absorb all of this nice butter and heavy cream. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and pour this in. And I might need more, but I'm just gonna start with that and see how it goes. And then I'm just gonna get to mashing. I personally like mine extremely mashed, but just mash them to how you like. I find that if I go in a circle like that, it helps. Like whipping it. And that was probably like 1 pound of potatoes. And I find those mashers are easiest to wash if you just go ahead and wash it like immediately. So these look pretty good. Let me go ahead and try them. I'm gonna add some sour cream in a little bit. The texture is perfect on these. I can't even taste anything right now because I just had a whole bunch of hot Cheetos. Just some salt.
Just your trash.
And then sour cream. And sour cream is optional. If you don't like sour cream, just don't add it. I just think it adds a really nice flavor. And you can add bacon to these, cheese to these, whatever is good for you. I think potatoes are perfect like this. Let me go ahead and try some more. I'm gonna take a little bit of water so that I can hopefully taste this. Here's the texture in case you want to see it. So hot. Freaking love sour cream. It's so good. Okay. So I like to make these early so I can get them out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of foil on top, let them hang out. They'll be ready whenever the meatloaf is done. And then this is the texture of them. Super creamy, delicious. Just a little bit of texture from the skins, but not in a bad way. Okay, y'all, so my timer went off for the 25 minutes. So I want to go ahead and pull the meatloaf out and check it so we can see the temp. And we just want it to be, I usually like to take it out almost to 160 because it'll continue to cook. Definitely got some juices going here. Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this digital thermometer, and what I'm doing here is just sticking it in the thickest part of the meat to the middle. And then I'm just gonna stick it in another area. And one more just to check. Perfect. So we're sitting at about 147. So that should mean that maybe 7 to 10 more minutes, it will be done. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and check back with you guys in 7 minutes and see where we're at. I feel like that's probably gonna be good. I feel like 5 to 7 minutes we'll go ahead and raise the temperature enough. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so while I was waiting for the 7 minutes to come up for the meatloaf, I just went ahead and put half a lemon, half of its juice in a bowl with 1 tablespoon of butter, a teaspoon of olive oil, completely optional, and this seasoning that I always use. I just get it at Marshall's. It is garlic and onion spice blend. It's really good. It has salt in it too. And this is unsalted butter. And then I also put just a little bit of pepper in here as well. So now that I have that, I'm gonna set it to the side. I have some broccoli with a little bit of cauliflower. It was like one of those mix over there. And I put the lemon, like the little half lemon that I did, put it in there with it so it'll steam together. That adds so much flavor. And this should be ready now. It's definitely bubbly. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the oven off because even if I have to put it back in there, it won't be for that long and the oven's really hot. That's a nice way to like save electricity, by the way. So I'm just gonna put this in here and see where it's at. Perfect. So by the way that this thermometer moved, I'm gonna go ahead and say that a good time for this, so 25 minutes plus 7, I would say 28 minutes whenever you make it like this thin is probably good. Start checking at the 27 mark, should be fine. This went a little over, but it's okay because there's so much stuff in here. It's not gonna be like dry or gross. So I'm just waiting for 2 more minutes for these to be done. I'll put that together and then I'll show you guys the final product. Okay, so my meatloaf is still gonna be resting and I'm gonna rest that for 10 minutes. That's really important for meatloaf because you want it to stay together. So the breadcrumbs and stuff helps that, and then resting it also helps. But this is done, so I'm gonna turn that. And whenever you open one of these, just open it like away from you like this because there's gonna be a lot of water. And then I just grab it with the thing here. I'm just getting some of that water out. My lemon. That lemon is really hot. That lemon is hot, bitch. Like, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I'm just gonna use some of the juice in there. Okay. And then just dumping it in. The residual heat is going to melt the butter. And then I'm just going to mix this up a little bit, just coating it. And I know that I made broccoli in my last one, but I didn't get any green beans from the store. That's actually what I like to have on the side, is some green beans. That's really nice. So pretty. Okay, once the meatloaf has rested longer, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys everything all together. Sorry that I said, like, you know, not that earlier. Okay guys, so I'm gonna use the back camera because that'll be easier for you guys to see everything. I think it's showing up a little darker than it actually is because for whatever reason it's just doing that, but it's not so dark. It's more of like a red color. So let me go ahead and cut into this really quick. I just like to use like a wide spatula for it. And then here's the inside so you can see it. It's nice and juicy. You can see everything here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and serve up some of these. I'm gonna get some of the juice down here. Brandon loves broccoli, so that's another reason why I'm always making broccoli, because I know that he loves it. And then some of these delicious potatoes. So here it is, nice and beautiful. Okay guys, so I just filmed my whole outro and it wasn't filming. I was using the back camera. What can I say? So I'm gonna go ahead and eat some of this in front of you. You can make a gravy for the mashed potatoes if you want, but these are so creamy that they don't need it. I literally filmed my whole outro. Here's a bite of the meatloaf so you guys can see it. And what I was saying in there is I'm really excited that I have those caramelized onions to choose from, like in the freezer, to add to stuff because it makes it so much easier. And even though there's like no milk in the meatloaf, it's got like kind of a creamy consistency. It's so good. And here you can see the onion. I'm like rushing now because I want to go eat with Brandon. Piece of broccoli. Anyways, hopefully this actually filmed now. Thanks so much for being here. Let me know what you think down below. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much again for coming to my channel. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.